All right. What's your name, by the way?
Michelle Carter.
Okay, Michelle, can everybody give her a big hand? And if you're game for it, why don't you come up on stage, but I'll leave the decision up to you. All right, now, as she's coming up here, Michelle, I'm going to give you some thinking time as you're walking up here, which is in a second, I want you to talk about any subject in the world, but it needs to be professional content. So we'll give you some examples, okay? You can imagine like elevator pitch, project update, a little bit about a recent campaign, thing you're doing, anything at all. Oh, thank you so much. Anything at all that is some professional content, but use something that is lengthy enough you could talk for 60 or 90 seconds on it. Something come to mind?
I would pick the harder one to do.
Yeah, let's pick the harder one to do.
I think I have something.
All right, great. So let's hear about this thing, if you don't mind. Give her a hand.
Well, when I lied, I maybe don't have it. But, but I could talk about, let's say we have the 5 Ps, but my dad taught me a long time ago that I use professionally all the time is proper preparation prevents poor performances. And so just talk about how to prepare yourself properly so when you have these situations or things come up, you can perform your very best. And so over time, I used to just say it over and over and over again because my dad drilled it into me all the time. Like, remember, proper preparation prevents poor performances. But then over time, when I got older and things happened, I realized it's actually true. When I take the time to prepare, when you take the time in the morning to get dressed or to even prep yourself to read a little bit, to study, then when you come across opportunities like this, you probably would be more prepared if you had the opportunity to prepare yourself properly to perform at your very best.
Brilliant. Give her a hand. Now, I want to give you some very good news, Michelle. First of all, did she do well? Yes. So a bunch of things just happened. One, you got a whole bunch of validation. This is going to sink in more deeply from a learning perspective because you just took a high level of difficulty activity, did really well in that high level of difficulty activity, so good for you. But now I'm going to teach you a tiny quick exercise to unlock even more vocal variety should you want to. Surprisingly, do you think she needs a lot more vocal variety? No. Even more surprisingly, at which juncture in this did she have the least amount of vocal variety? And I will give you a hint. It's when she was doing a poetic device called personification. When did she have the least vocal variety? Anybody notice? Raise your hand if you know what personification means. Do you have a guess? What? Yeah, the first one. Yeah, what was it? When she was saying the 5 Ps. That's right. When she relayed the story of her father saying these 5 Ps, that was the fastest she spoke, with the least amount of pitch variation, with no pauses whatsoever, at a slightly lower volume. Now this happens in life, and I'll tell you why, because we've memorized that and learned that so many times, we don't think we have to say it with any kind of special delivery because we've said it a million times. I see this in the startup world, by the way, all the time. I coach founders. They say their names and their company's name so quickly with no vocal variety that everyone misses it, even though they just invented their company's name. So let's try something. I want to do an exercise called silent storytelling. You don't even need the mic because you're not going to be making sound, okay? But I'm sorry, I was unclear. Hang on to the mic, okay. But don't worry about talking into it. What I want you to do is you're going to say these 5 Ps, just the ones your dad taught you, not my 5 Ps, your dad's 5 Ps. But what you're going to do is communicate them to the audience using all of yourself except your vocal cords. Everything besides sound. So in other words, you're going to essentially lip sync these 5 Ps. You're only going to say 5 words. This is not charades, okay? So you're not acting them out. all you're doing is using all of your communication instrument except for sound. So you probably have to look at your audience to make sure they're understanding. You probably have to open your mouth to enunciate your words because they have to see these words because they can't hear them. You probably may want to use your hands to help get the idea across because there's no sound. This is called silent storytelling. In fact, let's pretend this is a remote control, and I'm going to press mute. But you're going to tell us these 5 Ps, and we're going to understand them unmistakably, even in the back of the room, even without sound. Can you try that?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead, just those 5 words. Brilliant. Now, I want you to do the same thing, but this time you get to have sound back. Unmute. You're going to put the mic here in one hand, but do the exact same thing you just did and help us all understand these 5 Ps. Are you ready? Go ahead.
Proper preparation prevents poor performances.
Good. Give her a hand, please. Now look at that melodic line. It went up and down with pitch. There was a big pause in there. Some words were longer, some shorter. All 5 Ps unlocked automatically. So here is the takeaway. If you know of yourself, and I will let you leave the stage in a minute, I promise, just a minute. If you know of yourself that at times when you're nervous, you contract, use less breath, use less vocal variety, your voice becomes more flat, your body is a great way to unlock that. You essentially are a musical instrument. And if you use your body in a more expressive, more open ways, your voice will follow along for free. Okay, with that, can you all give Michelle a huge hand? And you can put the mic right down on the stool right there.